low boost garage, we're trying to get the rear end set up for the 65 Factory 5 Daytona Coupe, and introduce Terry, who's going to help us out. We've been buying a lot of parts down at O'Reilly's, and Terry's been a great help and offered to help us with a couple of our builds. And here he is going to rebuild the Fox body rear end for us.
We're going to break down this Fox body rear end, new bushings, and take the axles out, take the backing plates off, pull the guts right out of it. We're going to clean it all up, paint it, or maybe powder coat it, check our gearing and everything. We're going to replace the axles, and then when we pre-assemble it, we're going to fabricate a way to get it back into the back of the Type 65 so that we can get our rolling chassis. All right, so as we have our Fox body rear end torn down, semi-assembled for sandblasting, we have our axles out and our carrier put off to the side. We opted to leave our pinion in, so when we sandblast, we don't get too much material on the inside of the housing itself. It'll just be set up for primer and paint, and then we can start to assemble it back together. Our axle, unfortunately, on this side, if you can look, is bent, so it will have to be replaced. We'll get new bearings, new clutch packs for the posi in it, and we'll kind of go from there.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at O'Reilly's Auto Parts in Mechanicville, New York. If you guys are in need of parts or even just automotive knowledge, our buddy Terry here has a wealth of both. So make sure if you need something, make sure you go down to O'Reilly Auto Parts, 80 North Central Avenue in Mechanicville, and make sure you tell Terry or anybody there that Low Boost Films sent you. Terry took everything apart for us, and we're getting all the new parts to reassemble this from O'Reilly Auto Parts, as the sponsor of today's video. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this with a wire wheel as best I can. And honestly, I've gotten such great success with this VHT roll bar and chassis paint. We're going to try to hit it with that and see if that makes it look good. I've used this on the E36 for a long time. My suspension parts have been held up really good for years now, using this for roll bar and chassis. It's like a primer and paint all in one, and it puts on a really thick coat, so I don't have to go crazy painting this. But we'll do that and see how she comes out. I'm sorry, did I say wire wheel? I meant giant buffer. All right, now we'll hit it with some brake cleaner. Want to get all the dust and grime off of it as we can. We won't have to do a whole lot of modifications to the rear end, but we do have to hog out these mounting holes to be a 1/2 inch. I already hit it with a step bit, but I'm just going to hit it with this just to be sure that we get all the way through, because it's, you know, maybe 1/4 inch thick. And then the only other thing we're going to do is we'll have to get new bushings, and we'll press those out probably off camera because that's boring for you guys. All right, then the kit comes with the mounting for both sides, and also the links here. We went with 4-link suspension for this. We didn't get the optional 3-link. This will be fine for drag race and whatever we're doing. Like I said, we're doing it on a budget, but there's a whole mess of different ways you could actually do this. This is the least expensive way, but it's going to work great. Next, I'm going to hit it with some mineral spirits.
Now, we knew the axle was bent, but I didn't notice this until I got to this part of me actually editing the video. The actual rear end is bent just a little bit here. I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was maybe that was normal, but that is bent just a little bit too much for my liking, and we didn't really pick up on it until after the thing was painted, so we're going to need a different rear end other than this one. So at least I was able to showcase one way to clean up a rear end, because this actually did come out pretty nice. But we're going to do the other rear end that we got a different way. But this one is not going to really be able to use. I just didn't feel comfortable putting that in the car. I was able to find this rear end on Facebook Marketplace, and you can tell from the videos you'll see here, it is definitely straight in comparison to the other one. We're doing a different method with this. We're going to sand it down a little bit, and then we're going to set up a sand blaster to actually blast this thing and try that method and see how that works. So my dad brilliantly backed up his old trailer that he had, his small enclosed trailer, into the garage, and that's where we loaded the rear end into to make like a sandblasting booth. Although the sand kind of still went everywhere, it did make it a lot easier. So he put the rear end on an engine hoist and then put it down into our makeshift sandblasting booth, and it came out pretty good. It took a lot longer to do it this way than the way that we did the other rear end. Give or take, this is easier to get into the small crevices than you would with a regular sander in comparison, but both great methods to do it. I don't think there's a wrong way to eat a Reese's, and I don't think there's a wrong way to do this. We're still going to apply the same roll bar paint that we did on the original rear end, and it came out great with this one as well. We're going to have our buddy Terry come back and take the 4-lug axles and the drum brakes off of this rear end, take it all apart and rebuild it with all the parts that we had initially for the other rear end, which will be 5-lug, and we're also going to do the same Terminator Cobra brake setup that we have on the front. We're going to do Terminator Cobra brakes on this one as well. All right, so we're making some good progress with this car. We're going to be doing a lot of videos on this. We're caught up on a lot of our other projects that we've been working on, and we want to really focus on the Factory 5 for the next couple months to really get some deep progress into this thing so we can showcase it for you guys, and we can't wait to drive it. So we really want to get working on this thing. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit the like button to stay up to date on all the uploads. If you can't wait until next Thursday for next week's video, check out these videos that I already have ready to go.